All right, so we're back for another deep dive, and you guys have really outdone yourselves this time.
Oh, yeah.
With this pick, Karin Slaughter's This Is Why We Lied.
Ooh, yeah, this one is a good one.
I was hooked right from the start. We're talking family drama, a secluded mountain lodge, and a murder mystery.
So many twists and turns, it's like she just knows how to keep you guessing.
Exactly. And that's why we're here, to dive deep into this world that Slaughter has created, the world of the McAlpine family, and try to figure out who killed Mercy McAlpine.
Right off the bat, you get this sense of unease. Like something's not quite right with this family.
Yeah, it's subtle at first, but as you keep reading, it's like that feeling just intensifies.
Almost like the lodge itself has secrets.
Yeah.
Like it's holding its breath waiting for everything to come out.
Okay, so let's start with the McAlpines. We've got Cecil, the patriarch, wheelchair-bound after a bike accident. And then there's his wife, Biddy, who, well, she's a bit of a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, yeah, she definitely runs the show. And then you've got Mercy's brothers, Christopher and Fish. And each of them seems to have their own issues with the family.
And then there's Dave,
Right.
the adopted son who also happens to be Mercy's ex-husband.
Yeah, it's a little strange, that whole situation.
Yeah.
But it definitely adds a layer of complexity to the family dynamics.
And then there's that whole thing with the lodge being up for sale.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one. It's like that sale just throws gasoline on an already smoldering fire.
Creates tension, for sure. And makes you wonder who might benefit most from Mercy's death.
It's like everyone has something to gain or lose, which makes them all potential suspects.
Right. And it's not just the present situation that's messed up. We also have to delve into Mercy's past, particularly that tragic car accident that left her scarred.
The one where her best friend Gabby died.
Right. Yeah, that event casts a long shadow over the whole story.
It's like a wound that never quite healed for Mercy or the rest of the family.
And it's even more complicated by Christopher's claims about that night. Wait, you mean about Cecil assaulting Gabby before the crash?
Exactly. He says he saw it all. And even more disturbing, Christopher says Cecil made him help move Mercy and Gabby into the car before the accident.
Oh my gosh. Talk about a family secret that just changes everything.
It really makes you question how much Mercy actually knew about what happened that night.
Right. And how much guilt she might have been carrying.
So we've got this dysfunctional family with a dark past, and then into this mix walks Will and Sara, a newlywed couple on their honeymoon.
Talk about terrible timing.
Right. Will's a GVI agent and Sarah's a medical examiner, but they try to keep their professions quiet.
Well, until they find Mercy's body in a burning cottage.
And that's when their relaxing getaway turns into a full-blown murder investigation.
And boom, we're officially in whodunit territory.
Exactly. We've got our victim, a cast of characters with secrets, and two investigators who are about to get way more than they bargained for.
Okay, so let's talk suspects. The most obvious one seems to be Dave, Mercy's ex-husband, especially with that history of domestic violence.
Right. And he conveniently disappears right after her death.
But we can't rule anyone out just yet.
Absolutely. We've got Cecil, who might be connected to the accident years ago, and then there's Biddy with her controlling personality.
And let's not forget Christopher and Fish.
Yeah, they both seem to have their own reasons to resent Mercy.
It's like everyone in this family has a motive.
And the lodge being up for sale just adds another layer of complexity to the whole thing.
Financial gain is a powerful motive, right?
Definitely. It makes you wonder if someone saw Mercy as an obstacle to their own financial future.
So many questions already.
And we haven't even gotten into the investigation itself.
Which, believe me, takes us down a rabbit hole of clues and twists that you won't see coming.
Buckle up, because things are about to get really interesting. And it's not just about finding the killer. It's about peeling back the layers of this family's history, their secrets, their lies.
Like an onion, right? Every layer you peel back just brings more tears.
Exactly. And with Will and Sara leading the investigation, we get this unique perspective.
Because they're outsiders, right? They weren't part of this family's drama before all this happened.
Right. At first, they're just this happy couple on their honeymoon, trying to enjoy the scenery. But as they get drawn into the case,
They can't help but see the cracks, right? The darkness that's been simmering beneath the surface of this picture-perfect family.
exactly. And what makes it even more interesting is that they're not just detached observers. They have their own baggage, their own pasts that inform how they approach this case.
You mean like Will growing up in foster care?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's especially sensitive to the dynamics of abuse and the impact it has on kids. Like with John, Mercy's son.
And Sara losing her husband, a cop, in the line of duty, that definitely shapes her perspective too.
She knows how easily things can go wrong, how dangerous it is to underestimate anyone.
So it's like their personal experiences give them this unique insight into the McAlpines' world.
Right, they're not just solving a murder, they're also trying to make sense of their own pasts, their own pain.
It adds a whole other layer to the story, doesn't it?
It does. And then there are all the secondary characters who contribute to the overall picture.
Like Penny, the bartender.
Oh yeah, she's a good one. She's got this whole outsider's perspective on the McAlpines. Having known them for years, she's seen it all.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
And she's got her own secrets, too. Remember that whole thing about her knowing more about Gabby's death than she let on?
Right. It's like everyone in this town is holding on to something.
And then you have Gordon and Landry, the tech couple.
Oh, yeah. They were an interesting addition to the mix.
And we find out later they have a connection to that tragic accident years ago.
They're not who they seem to be, are they?
Nope. It turns out they're actually Paul and Gordon, and they're there to confront the person they believe is responsible for their loved one's death.
Talk about a twist.
Just goes to show you, the past always has a way of catching up with the present.
And let's not forget about that whole moonshining operation that Christopher and Chuck were running.
Oh yeah, that was a wild one. It's like they were so desperate to save the lodge, they were willing to do anything.
Break the law, risk their livelihoods, everything.
It shows how much that lodge meant to them.
But it also makes you wonder, how far were they willing to go?
Exactly.
Oh.
Was someone willing to kill to keep their share of the profits?
And then there's Cecil, who goes from this seemingly harmless old man to
A potential monster, right.
Christopher's revelation about him assaulting Gabby just changes everything.
Makes you question everything you thought you knew about him.
It's like all these characters have this dark side that they're hiding.
And it all comes back to that theme of appearances versus reality, doesn't it?
Like with the lodge itself, it's this beautiful, idyllic setting, but underneath it all, there's this darkness, this history of pain and secrets.
It's like the whole place is haunted by the past.
And that's what makes Will and Sara's roles so interesting. Because they're outsiders, they can see things that the McAlpines themselves are blind to.
Or maybe willfully ignoring.
Right, and because of their own personal experiences, they're able to connect with the victims in a way that no one else can.
Like Will with John, recognizing the signs of abuse, understanding the fear and the pressure he was under.
And Sara with Mercy, knowing the pain of losing someone you love, the need for answers, for justice.
They bring this human element to the investigation, this empathy that goes beyond just solving the case.
It makes you root for them even when things get really tough.
And it makes you think about the impact of trauma, how it ripples outwards, affecting everyone it touches.
It's like a virus spreading through generations.
Even though this book is dark, really dark, there are these moments of hope.
Those little glimmers of light that make you believe that maybe, just maybe, people can change.
Like with Sara and Will, their love for each other, their commitment to doing the right thing, it's a powerful force in this story.
It reminds you that even in the darkest of places, there's still goodness to be found.
And that sometimes the most important thing is just to keep fighting, keep searching for the truth, even when it's hard. It's a tough one to swallow, right? Like, how do you reconcile the love you have for your family with the horrible things they've done?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot to process. And I think that's what makes Slaughter's writing so effective. She doesn't shy away from those tough questions, those moral gray areas.
And it's not just about the McAlpines, right? It's about the choices we all make, the secrets we keep, and how those things can impact not just us, but everyone around us.
Absolutely. And speaking of choices, the ending of this book leaves us with a lot to think about, especially when it comes to John.
Yeah, poor kid. He was forced to make an impossible choice.
Between protecting his mother or the woman who abused him.
It's a heartbreaking situation, and it makes you wonder what's going to happen to him now.
Right. The book ends with him being taken into custody, but we don't really know what his fate is going to be.
I kept thinking about that after I finished the book. Like, can he ever truly heal from the trauma he's experienced?
It's a tough question, and I honestly don't know if there's an easy answer.
But I do think there's hope. Even in the darkest of situations, there's always a glimmer of light.
Like with Will and Sara, their relationship, their commitment to justice. It's a reminder that even in a world filled with darkness, good people can still make a difference.
They give me hope, and I think they give John hope too.
Yeah, because they show him that there's another way to live, that you don't have to be defined by your past.
That you can choose a different path.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into This Is Why We Lied, what are your final thoughts? What have we learned from this twisted journey into the heart of a dysfunctional family?
Well, I think we've learned that family secrets can be incredibly destructive.
Oh, yeah, they can tear people apart.
But we've also seen the power of truth, the importance of facing those secrets, no matter how painful they may be.
And the importance of empathy.
Definitely. Understanding where people are coming from, even if you don't agree with their actions.
Because ultimately, we're all connected, right?
We are. And the choices we make can have a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves.
It's a powerful message, and I think it's one that stays with you long after you finish reading the book.
It certainly did for me. This was a deep dive I won't soon forget.
Me neither. Thanks for joining us on this journey, and we'll see you next time for another thrilling exploration of the literary world.